And he said, just buckle up, boys. He's never seen him so pissed off.
Yeah.
You see so many stories of him just getting pissed off and someone just going, why'd you say that to him?
Yeah.
Why'd you say that to him?
You know, hoping it's going to play well, hoping it's going to do what you want it to do.
Saka B, where they go, like you can't get into the oval. You just stand out the back and drink, but you're inside the actual Adelaide Oval fence.
And it was one of the questions I was wanted to ask today is how come the pitch doesn't break down as much? And yeah, you just answered everything.
Perfect. So, Damian, I think of all the guests that we've had, sorry, Nathan, our team were most excited to see you come in today. We've got a few cricket tragics out in the warehouse. And when they saw that you were going to be here today, I think they were appreciative of you going out and saying hello. So, thank you for doing that.
No problem.
So, I guess for the turf or the lawn, depending on which side of the fence we're standing on, fans that are following our show that haven't ever come across you, if you can just give us a bit of an introduction as to who you are and what you do day to day.
Yeah, I'm obviously Damian Hough, the head curator at Adelaide Oval and now Turf Solutions. So been lucky enough to be the head curator since, July 2010.
It's crazy.
But spent 14 years under the great Les Burdett as well. So yeah, it's 20. What's that make it? 28 years roughly at Adelaide Oval, which has been pretty cool. Been flown by.
Yeah, well, I mean,
28 years.
that's crazy.
How old are you?
30.
Sorry.
That means I'm old.
No, it just means he's young.
Well, and just to think in the past sort of 15 to 20 years how much Adelaide Oval's changed, like it feels like it's cool like that as well. And the fact that you've been there that whole time.
Yeah,
like,
it's been a
on
pretty crazy ride. So, you know, obviously where it started, you know, back in 96 to what it looks like now is
crazy.
Massive shift, and just the way we do things is completely different. Different outfield sand profile, not cooch.
Yeah, that's one of the common questions that each time the Adelaide Test comes around, or the one day, or more so the Test now because the one days have to be on pay TV, but the Test and like the Lawn Geeks, the OzLF, the best cooch in Australia, and it's like it's not cooch anymore. It hasn't been cooch for a while.
Yeah.
You know? So
At all?
There's
a cooch profile in there somewhere?
Not now. Pictures, yeah, but outfield when we rebuilt it in probably September 2013, just before that.
Yep.
That was the Ashes year. It was centre around a cooch, but probably in February we oversowed it with ryegrass. So going into AFL, we need rye, so off we went with the usual renovations, punch some holes, get the rye in there, heavy dose of Primo, and the rye took off really well. We had to do it in February purely because that was the only window we had with the back end of cricket going straight into football, and the footy players and the clubs wanted to train out there. So we wanted to have the rye established by the time footy started, and we just haven't had the ability to spray it out. So if you don't chemically remove the rye at some stage, over time the rye starts to take hold and the cooch becomes less and less. So yeah, each year it's gone slowly less and less. Probably the last 5 years it's pretty much been pure rye. It's gone. So now when we replace turf after concerts or maybe mid-year football, we replace it with pure rye.
yeah, and it's all stitched now. Is the whole field stitched?
Not all.
Not all of it?
But we're going right now where it stands. We've been using HG's, their hero product.
Yep.
And yeah, it's been good. So we put in an order based on how much we think we're going to use each year. The largest we've done 10,000 square metres for Ed Sheeran.
Yep.
Probably 2.5 for Pink, and nothing. We don't have anything this year, but it looks like next year could be another decent amount.
It's crazy. Like, who would have thought, 28 years ago, you're putting turf orders in and, concerts and everything. Because I can't remember too much back that. Like, obviously, I was really young, but there wasn't really concerts or anything back there in that time, was there? Or?
In the old days,
Yeah.
Oh, we'd still have the concerts. So, you know, in my time, up till 2010, we've had who have we had? Billy Joel, Elton John,
Yeah.
Michael Jackson, Paul McCartney was just before me, AC/DC,
Yeah.
Fleetwood Mac.
I remember the AC/DC one because the neighbouring people were not too happy about the noise. Imagine that.
Yeah,
The Oval was there first.
yeah.
Like when people buy near an airport
Or a golf course.
Yeah, that's a massive problem. It's funny I think the Oval probably gets a bit more grace than golf courses. Like the golf courses, I don't know how much, I mean, you obviously have interaction through the association, but the golf courses tend to have a lot of problems with the mowing. I guess it's early mornings more than late nights, isn't it?
Yeah. We've got to be respectful, and we've got to keep communication open with our residents along Pennington Terrace. That's our border, really. So, yeah, communication's the key. Make sure they're aware of what's going on. You know you're going to have an AFL game every Saturday pretty much in footy season, and, you know, cricket shouldn't be quite as bad, maybe the test match.
Or the
but
day-night as well, you've got late
night.
Is it
for
a day-night this year?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just become kind of Adelaide's thing? We've done it well, or you've done it well?
I think
say we.
Yeah, I think we. Yeah, I think as a stadium, the stadium does it really well. Saka obviously have a fair influence in how they want it set up, and I think the village green out the back, which is the members area, is world renowned. So that's keeps getting bigger and better each year. And yeah, I think it just suits our climate and our, I suppose, our characteristics with the pitch that we prepare. So I don't think we'll have it every year. We're moving into that Christmas test. They're going to sort of name it as, but that test match just before Christmas for the next, might be 6 or 7 years. So
we already know that. Like they'll
for the first time, Cricket Australia have come out and pretty much locked in a test match. Adelaide will be that test match, followed by Boxing Day, followed by New Year's. So we'll see where it goes.
The dates that we've got for this one, is that earlier than what you're talking? Or
this next year it'll go back
another week.
And
then they'll have Boxing Day.
Yeah.
Okay. When I was asking, it's funny. When I was asking about we do it well. I was more referring to how the ball reacts to the pitch at night, and how you're able to play a day-night test that actually gets a result, or that plays to the time frame that would be desirable, and not so much necessarily the village green, but both obviously contribute to that.
I think it works. There's nothing better than a day test, and the history and that goes with the day test. They're really special, but there is something unique and special about that twilight session, that back end. It always seems to liven up if you can get the new ball in that last hour and get a couple new batters in. It's very, very challenging to bat on. So it can work in Australia's favour, but it can definitely work in India's favour with Bumrah steaming in. So it could be quite scary if that's the case. But yeah, all we do is, probably for the last 8 years has been a certain type of pitch preparation. And we try and just execute that the same every year. It doesn't always come to plan, but we just try to get that same type of pitch and hope for the best, and let the players play the game.
Has Bumrah played a day night here, like to your knowledge?
I'm going to say yes, unless he wasn't playing the last one. But they've played one here.
Yeah, I remember Mohammed Shami was the one that tore us to pieces last time in Adelaide with the pink ball.
Me and Mudge went to one a while back, and there was a lady in the stadium club walking around with a snake around her neck, like a full dressed up. Might not have been the India test. It might have been. No, I reckon it was India. Yeah, full dress, snake walking around the stadium club. I was like, "What are you doing? I'm out of here. It's not my scene."
But no, you're right. He just showed it last week in Perth. Like, right areas. He made that pitch look unplayable But Indians batters made the pitch look easy. Like there's just he brought that X factor, and they talk about it a lot. And Boomer under lights. I'm definitely not going out there and facing him under lights.
Maybe we need like a handicap system for cricket. They've got a lot more of a population to us. Like we should get a head start.
Maybe Cricket Australia shouldn't rest their best players 2 weeks before a test.
He can't comment.
I know he can't comment, but we can.
We'll be right. Have faith. Have faith. We're the best in the world for a reason.
We are. That's right. But
it's one game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
that's so Australia though, as in the country, not the players. Just to go, they're fucked.
No, we're not fucked. It's just that we felt like I don't know. India had that fight. They had a lot to prove, obviously, going down in India against New Zealand, which even you commented on and said that was just unheard of. And for you to say that.
Well, it's kind of, it means it's hit the general population, not just cricket people. But
so they had a lot to prove or a lot to show, and love or hate Virat, he batted well in that second innings, and that just goes to show that you put the time in, the runs will come. And
they're world class for a reason.
That's right. Yeah.
And I'd say on the flip side, the Aussies are world class for a reason, and I wouldn't be writing us off just yet.
Nah. Well, not with Stark under lights, especially if he can, get it hooping. And, I remember watching him in a day-night Shield game, and he took 4 for 3, like just bowled, LBW, and then that was it. And I think we were 6 for 18 or something, 6 for 19 going like that. That was
that's
it.
The beauty of cricket, though, isn't it? Like, you can play if there was no time limit, a test can go forever, or you can have a collapse and just go, oh shit.
Yeah, that night we were bowling and Frankie Worrell kept bowling it short at him.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
He hit him in the head. He had to get his helmet changed.
That's right. Yeah.
And then he bowled it short again, and he was so fired up that at the change of innings, we were actually talking about it last week with Greg Davidson, the big tall umpire. That was one of his. I think he said a third match that he umpired in, and he pissed Starkey off that much that we're out rolling at the change of innings, and Nathan come out and he said, just buckle up, boys. He's never seen him so pissed off. Yeah. And he was literally abusing the shit out of all the South Australians and absolutely tore through it.
It was great. It was great to see.
This is a Sheffield Shield or a state match?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
State match. It was those Shield games.
And Nathan was working with you at the time?
No, he was playing.
Yep.
So it was those Shield games where they were basically trialling the pink ball with the view to bring the test
because they had to get it tested.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we had young Kelvin Smith was playing, and he must have been down at, I don't know, fine leg or something like that, and he come around and just shook his head and he goes, he's gonna fire up. What's he doing? I'm gonna have to face him. And he ripped through all of them. I think Ferg, Cozzy.
I think Doltz was playing that game.
Yeah,
Johnny. Yeah. Fuck yeah, it was scary watching it from side on. Like, fuck that. Yeah. No thanks.
No, world class.
Yeah. Well, that would have been 150 plus.
Yeah.
Plus. And swinging under lights. Yeah.
It's funny the difference. Like, why can't he just do that, right? But you see it like Michael Jordan. Yeah. You see so many stories of him just getting pissed off and someone just going, "Why'd you say that to him?
Yeah.
Why'd you say that to him?" So
Curtly
I guess
Ambrose
be careful who you choose to wind up.
Yeah, Curtly Ambrose back in the day with the sweatbands.
I was just thinking, I guess the West Indies came into my mind when we were talking before about like India is strong, Australia is strong. Like without that swinging pendulum of wins and losses, cricket can lose. It's like watching New Zealand play rugby against anyone.
Yeah.
And like, I'll go watch Australia every time, lose 100-0, I don't care. But it's nice to kind of go there going, I don't know what might happen, right? Like our country could win, our country could lose. And so to have that in cricket, if it's just this domination of one country, then I guess people will still go. But there's a commercial reality behind what you guys do, right? And so I know there's probably pressure on you to make sure that there is a result, but it's a 4.7 day result or whatever it might be. I know that's you can only prepare the pitch that you can prepare, right? But you don't want a 2-day test.
No, we don't. But we've never had, hand on heart, have never had that pressure it needs to go deep on day 5 or deep on day 4. You don't want. So last year was only 2.5 days. Yeah. Again, you don't want to have a lot of them.
The corporate people are just like,
and it does cost the business money and sacker money when those happen, but that's never in your thinking.
Well, it can't be in your thinking.
No, it can't, and it's just not. Like our job is to produce a consistent pitch. that's got something in it for everyone. So, and we would just want a contest between bat and ball. So if it starts hooping around at night, that's got nothing to do with the pitch.
Absolutely.
And I mean, even India last time, Josh Hazelwood, he took a heap of wickets on day 3 and they were all out for 36.
Yeah, that's right.
But you'd never ever on the morning of day 3 have thought that it was going to be over that day, and they just nicked everything.
Yeah,
most of the time there's a lot of playing misses. There was not one miss. They just nicked everything.
Especially the form that Pujara was in at the time as well. Like I remember his was just, that's out. And they'd spent 2.5 days bowling at him a couple of weeks before. And
so you didn't go into that game or even the morning of day 3 contemplating it's going to be all over today. You thought it was at least going to go halfway into day 4, if not deep into day 4. So that's the beauty with cricket. You're just never sure, what each session can bring. Day night is that night session, and even that last hour, again, can just add that spice to it, or that, something special that might have been there for 2 sessions. So that's the exciting part, I think, about day night.
Are you getting an opportunity to watch these games now, or are you still? And have you ever been that way, or are you kind of, it's still work and you need to be running around in the background? Because you've got a pretty deep team now, right? Like the depth of your team. Yeah. Your team can run these events. Yeah. Are you getting out there and enjoying it? And I mean, I'm not to say you don't enjoy it anyway, but
no, I don't. I wouldn't. I don't think I enjoy a test match. I try to. Oh no, not never. But
like you're just on.
Yeah, it's pretty intense. So for me, the whole way through, you're just wanting it to play really well. I'm getting better at it, but you're never sitting back quite comfortable, watching. You're pretty intense, hoping it's going to play well, hoping it's going to do what you want it to do. It's out of your control, right? And what's happened, and you just got to roll with
prep.
it.
It's all the prep. It's probably the same for the players, right? Yeah. Like they've done their prep. Now you just have to go out there and
Yeah. And ours goes for the whole duration. So, I feel it. So, and I always have, but that's just my personality, and that's okay. So, I'll just sit there. I enjoy it. So that's a lie saying I don't enjoy it. It's not right. But I.
But you're not sitting back just like, oh, what a beautiful day to be enjoying the cricket. Like you're enjoying the fact that that's what you get to do for a living.
Well, I overanalyze in life in general. So I'm probably, not enough wickets, too many wickets. What's going on? Geez, that ball didn't play quite well. It might have stayed down. I don't mind a ball staying down in, 3rd or 4th day, but not in the 1st or 2nd day. You've got your ideal pitch that you're trying to prepare. Players play the game. But we can dictate a certain amount of how the game's played. So we're pretty clear the way we want to go about it. And the ideal pitch is 10 wickets and 300 runs a day will produce entertaining cricket. So there's runs, there's wickets. And day 5 for me is negative mindset. They're blocking, or it's inclement weather so, if it goes into day 5, you want it to go deep into day 5. Otherwise, it probably costs the business as well. So,
because no one's there. So you've got a fully staffed venue with no sales.
Yeah. And we've had some go deep into day 5 and they're absolutely, ball tearing sort of test
amazing
matches.
Adelaide 2006.
Well, the day-night ones, it enables people to come out in from work because generally day 5's not a weekend, right? So they're coming back out like after work on a Tuesday or Monday. What do we play? Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday?
This week's Friday. Yeah. It's a Tuesday.
Yeah. So they can come in on that Tuesday after work, walking across which is it's not unique to Australia, I guess, but people that are finishing work and coming in to watch that last.
And we're so close to the city, so you think you'll have a good turnout in the first session, but by the time session 2 and session 3 comes on Friday, you think it would really start to grow. Saka have increased their membership this year, so
I let mine
that'll be huge. And there's a really good vibe around the place. It's an amazing setup on the village green.
It's funny, you could almost increase that. That's so just keep going back. I know that some of that grass that turf is probably valuable to you guys, but you could just have like SACA members non-seated, like almost like a SACA B where they go, like you can't get into the Oval. You just stand out the back and drink, but you're inside the actual Adelaide Oval fence.
Yeah, but a lot of them, they do that anyway.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I was
They
doing.
get out the back because once they're
That's obviously
out there,
why they've extended the tickets, because it wasn't, I guess the seating probably wasn't getting flooded.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the decision was, but it's, I think I heard last night that the SACA membership is like the biggest cricket membership in the world.
Yeah.
So it's they're doing some really good things.
I never used mine, so I had one for 10 years or something, and because I was always in corporate or I didn't go, I never needed it, and so I hadn't used it for ages. And then I got the bill, and I was like, I'll pay for that later. I'll pay for it later. And then I just went, oh shit, it's gone. So I don't know what the waiting list is now, but it was a while when I got it, and now it's gone. So I have to keep going to corporate or maybe volunteer with you on the day. Could you find me a gig?
Probably.
Probably.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go with no.
The pitch is a bloody 2 foot shorter. Got him to mark the lines.
The length of the outfield, does that stay the constant, or can you cut that shorter? You talked about getting 300 runs or 10 wickets. Like, is that can speed up the ball, the pace of the ball to the outfield? Like, is that something that you guys look at, or?
We're pretty constant. Like we'll, cool season ryegrass in the middle of summer doesn't really make sense. So, that's what we got. So we keep it at a 12 millimetres, and then just try and keep it, reasonably thinned out and try and get it as quick as we can with our growth regulators. So, the players need value for shots. It's not going to be as quick as a couch surface, but if we can get our regulation right and down right, 12 mil seems to be okay. 10 can just put a little bit too much stress on it. And if we get a hot spell, 5 days, the amount of traffic that goes over it before the game starts, at the lunch break, the tea break, can be pretty brutal. So, and this pressure with the rolling around the square is quite intense. That traffic around the pitch square. So,
is it getting watered during the game? Because you don't water the pitch, do you?
We can't. So the pitch wise, up until the coin toss, we can do what we want. Yep. Once the coins toss handed over to the match referee and the umpires, we get to sweep it and cut it each morning. It has to be the same height from day one through to the end of the game. We get to sweep the pitch, cut it, mark it, and then we are allowed to roll for a maximum of 7 minutes with whatever the batting captain wants, a heavy roller or a light roller, and they can say no roller at all. And then at the change of innings, the same, whatever roller they want, roll. Outfield-wise, and we're allowed to water the block, so the pitches around it, as long as it's not damp when we get there, and they're playing. Outfield, again, in the old days, it was up, we had to get permission from the captains to water. But nowadays, it's as long as we're consistent, we put a letter out to them just stating what we're doing, and we can water each day. So we tend to water, basically try to replace what...
So evaporation.
The evaporation, yep. So, but within reason, we can't give it 100% one day and 30% the next.
Yep.
If we think we're going to have a fluctuation over those periods, we might go, well, we'll just give it 75% for the 4 nights.
That makes sense. Recently, I was there and the hill looked rough, and then...
It's a nice way of putting it.
Yeah, it's a very nice way of putting it.
What were we there for?
I don't
know
know
what I was there for.
You wouldn't have been on the hill.
No, I walked past the hill to get into the corporate box. Soccer. The men's Australia-China. Was it the men's or women's?
Men's, yeah.
I don't know. I was pretty drunk. Plus, football or soccer is not something that I was overly interested in. I was there to host. And then the other day I saw some photos posted of it all kind of stitched in.
Yeah.
What happened there? Like, it was just time to replace it, or?
Yeah, so that got redone. That whole North Mound was part of probably the first stage of the reconstruction. That was 2012, leading into South Africa. And it was reshaped and sand profile drainage. So 12 years of it cops a flogging, cops an absolute beating, especially from the east where the scoreboard side, is where everyone packs it out first, bars
Standing
there,
room only.
standing
Yeah.
room, boozing on, spilling grog and all of that. So it cops a beating. And remember, we're lucky with the Oval, we've got that north end open. But when you get up into that mound, you've got the scoreboard, the replay screen, the camera deck, and the Moreton Bays create a lot of shade. So we've just been oversowing it and doing the renovations as often as we can, but got to the stage where we had about 75, 80 mil of organic in there, and it just couldn't keep up with. Yeah, we just
That's a decent amount.
Yeah, we couldn't keep up. It just couldn't handle the traffic, and we're starting to get the crowds back. When it's going well, when the mound starts to really jam out and get full, and we just couldn't keep it alive. We saw it go backwards. Gather round has been great, but 5 games over a weekend, cops are beating up there early in the season. Put a bit of a proposal together, got it approved. So we basically took the organic out, got sand in there, and put TIFF up there.
I was going to say, what did you put up there? So TIFF.
Yeah, most of it's TIFF. We put up a little bit of iron cutter as well, just as a bit of a
test.
Yep.
Because you had some Tahoma go down somewhere.
Probably when it first came. When it first came, we got Tahoma in a few little spots. So yeah, we're just having a look at what's out there. We've been talking to Andrew regarding TIFF for quite a while, and we thought, a good spot to do it. And then we spoke to Nathan about the iron cutter at our turf conference when he was here, and he was happy to, he's wanting us to trial it out. So he said, yeah, let's do it.
Makes sense. TIFF's going into some oval projects. Obviously, Oval 1 at the Lindock.
Yep.
And I think Southern Soccer, one of the pitches that they're just doing now, I'm pretty sure that was TIFF.
Okay.
It's getting specified by consultants. What's your thoughts on that? Like, is it, I guess, have you seen it play?
I'm probably not
there.
I haven't got the experience in it yet. The dealings we've had with it, it's been really good. It depends on who you talk to. So some people will tell me that it's no different than, no better than Santa Ana. And, respectfully, you listen to them. Others say that it comes out of dormancy really well, and it can handle the traffic better. So I just think there's no better way than trialling it in your own patch of dirt.
Putting it on a shaded, sloped, high traffic, alcohol fueled hill is probably a good test.
Yeah. So for us, it's a first stage of when we redo the oval. Are we going to stay with ryegrass? Are we going to try and go back to some form of a couch base? What are the steps we're going to take? Why not trial it on the mound first and then decide where we go with it? And that's the same with whether it's iron cutter, whether it's Tahoma. We've got the Village Green North out the back of the west there at the north end where the Buff and Dizzy statue are, where, again, that's just a really old organic surface that's pretty much rye now. And we're trying to get that replaced too, trying to get approval to take that up, put some drainage in. And we might try some Tahoma on that, or we might decide we want to trial some more iron cutter, or it might just be Santa Ana. So anything we can do to observe the way it behaves and play around with it, it can only help us, understand the new varieties that are out there.
The drop-in pitches is something that's quite unique to Adelaide Oval. Can you just explain to the people that are listening what that looks like? And I guess without us showing, we could probably show footage of it actually, but how that came about, that Adelaide Oval has drop-in pitches, what it is, what they are, and then what that means for cricket. Yeah,
so drop-in pitch technology come around when the construction happened. So as part of getting AFL footy back to Adelaide Oval, the non-negotiable was the pitches had to be removed for football. They couldn't have the cricket square out there. So Saka had to get I think 75% of their members to vote yes. And there was a lot of work done, and to Saka's credit and the members' credit, they voted yes. And then it was basically put back onto us to design the trays and build the trays. So,
as in that hadn't been done before, or you just wanted to design your own?
So they were in Melbourne. They were the main ones being used. They were around. The drop-in technology or theory was probably World Series cricket, Kerry Packer sort of time, but they probably weren't the best back then in that initial startup phase, and they learnt so much. MCG had been probably playing around with them since, I don't know, late 90s, might be 96, 97, something like that, 98. And we sort of had a little working group of obviously Les and myself, and we got a guy called Peter Semos in who was a curator at the MCG, and he's been there from the startup phase of drop-ins with Strathair. So the three of us sat down and worked through it and just went, okay, well, we want it, needs to be right for Adelaide Oval. So when you got two legends of the industry in Les and Peter.
I thought you could say, and Les. Jesus, Damian. That's a bit forward.
But he was such a, you would never, ever do anything without running it past Les. You're setting yourself up for failure. And if they were going to fail, Les was going to go down with me. So, we sat in a room and just worked through it. And the drop-in pitch technology really, everyone almost copies everyone else. So the trade.
It's safe, right?
Well, you want to play it safe. So you understand what they've done, and then you try to make some tweaks to add your, I suppose, your characteristics of what you need it to look like. So trays themselves, ours were 25 metres by 3 metres, and they're all 200 millimetres deep. The tray's 150 mil wall, but then you have 50 millimetres of clay on top. So we just went with a Strathair design, and we modified it to suit us. So what we wanted was as much clay on top before any steel. We weren't sure.
That hedge or that ledge, you want that as high as physically possible.
Yeah, and so there's a 50 mil, but in the middle it sort of it kicks down again. So we've got 175 millimetres of thick of clay before it hits any steel.
Wow.
We're in the middle of the pitch. And the whole idea of that is you look at the negatives and go, what's the worst thing that can happen? We didn't want the clay cracking because there was too shallow amount of clay, and it was cracking it in the shape of the steel structure, and we didn't know. So we built them that way. We tweaked a few things and built them, and put the soil into them, Santa Ana on them. And why? Because Santa Ana was 6 of the 8 pitches. Athelston soil. Why? Because Athelston soil had been the soil used on Adelaide Oval for about 70 or 80 years. It was definitely the soil that Les used to go out when he first started in the late 60s and hand dig out of Athelston. When they subdivided, Les got 420 tonne stockpiled, and it was a myth. And then when we had our first meeting, Les talked about the soil. And I went, okay, so you do have it. He goes, yep, got it stockpiled. We went for a drive, turn right, turn left, turn right, park here, a gate, walk through it, just a paddock.
There it was.
Long grass. We couldn't see it because it was full of weeds, rocks, grab a shovel, walk this way, walk that way, start digging, and there it was. And we just sprayed it out over the course of the summer.
What, as in it was on land that he owned? Or
No,
it was just somewhere.
Yeah, so the developer had land, he dumped it.
Yep.
We sprayed it out. We'd go up there on a Friday around lunchtime. Everyone that knows Les knows that he loves a beer.
So
and
you drive?
Yeah, I'd drive him. I'd drive, sprayer on the back with Roundup in it, go out. I'd be in there in amongst the prickles spraying it. Les would sit on the back, pull the hose. We'd do it, go back to the Paradise for a cannery and a few beers. Perfect. And then go back to work. And we sort of did that once every 6 to 8 weeks over the course of the summer. In February, we clean, and we'd go back, rake it all off, clean it. it'd reshoot again. We'd try and do it. And then we got Ian North involved from Pete's, and he picked it all up, took it, processed it, and we've got enough Athelston there to see me out.
Yeah,
and then away we went. We built all our trays out of it. And then when we dug the pitches up, probably 12 months later, we took all the organic off, and then all of the soil that was there, we took back down to Pete's.
So they'll fumigate it or wash it or whatever process they need to do to
and
get
just
it back.
sit it there and let it naturally weather and break down and remold itself. And then we've got, every time we need soil, do we need Athelston for the 8 trays, or we've got 10 trays all up? So we built 2 more a couple of years later with a higher clay content, still local soil, but down south, about 4% higher in clay. So our clay is somewhere around 60%, low 60s, and this other stuff's 4% higher. And instead of Santa Ana, we use Legend Cooch. The reason we used 2 with Legend was what we knew was the pitches just wouldn't deteriorate. So if they're not going to deteriorate, they're not going to play the way the old Adelaide Oval used to play. And we just went, well, what have we learnt? What can we do? How do we grow? How do we get better? So we built these other 2 like that. And the Legend Cooch, those hybrid Santa Ana is really tight, and it bonds in and doesn't crack, deteriorate too well. Legend is more open, so it'll naturally deteriorate. We get some cracks in it, higher clay content, more chance of cracking, more chance of them, I suppose, balls staying lower. Adelaide Oval on days 4 and 5, balls would stay low, play up and still spin. We're sort of gone to them. The last 2 years, we've been playing around with them for 5 or 6 years now at shield level. We had a good one, we had a bad one, we redid them. We were getting some foreign grass species come in, so we took the top off again, redid it, played around with them. Last year was the first year where we used one.
In a
test match?
In an international?
Yeah, test match.
And no one would know?
They didn't, but we told.
As in you don't publicly go to Channel 7 and Channel 10 and go, oh, we're using a different pitch. Like, it's just...
It got out, so somebody asked, and it's just Cooch. But we ended up, it got out and we told them. And last year's pitch didn't play real well, so we weren't real happy with it. But we decided that we'd give it another go because we feel like we know where it went wrong, and we want to prove to ourselves more than anything that this can play well. So
did you know that?
I did not know that. Yeah. No.
He's a cricket and turf tragic. He's like the hybrid of everything that you're involved in. So for him not to know that.
Yeah. Well, because obviously straight away I think back to before the drop-in days. Yeah, like you said, 4 and 5 balls would keep low, would spin. I mean, the year Brian Lara made 200 in a day, Stuart McGill and Shane Warne were in that team. They were playing, like Australia, playing 2 dedicated spinners at the Oval. And it was one of the questions I was wanted to ask today is how come the pitch doesn't break down as much? And you've just answered everything.
So our role, for me to do my job, I suppose there's always been gut feel. So you've been taught, curator gets taught the art of curating, and it gets handed down from curator to curator. Whether it was Les or whether it was, I worked closely with a old 2IC called Ross Bennett, and old Roscoe was towards the back end of his time. He'd work in the practice pitches, state pitches, and he gave me so much, and he just put so much time into me. And my job was, I was a sponge.
Yep.
Why are we doing this? Why would I do it this way? Why am I high gearing it versus low gearing it? And it was a real, I just got so much out of spending time with Roscoe. And then as you progress through, you put that time in. And we've just got the Adelaide Oval philosophy around pitch preparation. We tried that for the first 2 years, and in 2014 was the Phil Hughes Memorial Game, test match. They moved it to the first test, was Adelaide. Nathan spun them to victory late on day 5 in that last half an hour of the game finishing. Anyone could have won at that drinks break. Nathan spun them to victory, and it was one of the best games that I've ever experienced. And that was an old trying to get the pitch to deteriorate. But did I like those type of pitches? Not really.
Yep.
Balls weren't coming through. You weren't having slips in there. It was just, I don't know. I just didn't like the way we were preparing them, but we were trying to get a pitch to deteriorate. Fast forward, we get into pink ball. Those type of pitches become really abrasive.
Yep.
Guys, you're going to have the test match day night of first ever, but your pitch is very abrasive. How could you do that was a question from Cricket Australia. So we spend the winter trying to hatch a plan on how would we do it. We executed and we've never gone back. So we haven't always got them right, but the feedback and our job is to do the best we can to keep growing, keep developing. We ask for feedback a lot. So
From the players?
From players, coaches, umpires, you know, we seek feedback. Now it can complicate things and confuse you because everyone's got an opinion and everyone's opinion's different. So I'm not going to go and talk to Starkey if he hadn't taken a wicket.
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk to, you know, a batter that hasn't scored runs or has scored runs because they're going to give me a biased opinion. But there's certain people out there, coaches, for example, Justin Langer has always been so down to earth and honest, and it's never been a selfish view. It's been in the view of cricket. So he's been outstanding. Ronnie McDonald's another one that I would talk to when he come over and played for South Australia. We would talk about it when he went first into the media. We'd talk about it because he's had his whole career he's been on drop-ins at the MCG with Victoria and over here. So we would talk about all of that. I'd talk to Cam Hodgkins, who was a curator at the MCG and somebody I looked up to so much, and he was killing it. I went over there to watch a test match probably in 2011, I reckon. And they were getting, he was getting so much praise, and Ian McLaughlin said to me, get on a plane, get over there. So I went, no, I've got a bit on, get on a plane, just get up. So day 4, flew over there, watched it, and I'd never seen so much grass on a pitch in my life. And I sort of went over there and I got home and that was a bit of a waste of time. But I got out there and had a look, never seen so much grass on a pitch. Spent the day with him, he was really good and his staff. And it wasn't until 2010 when we're doing drop-ins and we were talking to him about pitches and I don't know what to do. Do I do it? Don't I do it? Do I leave grass? Do I take it off? That first, we had 2 Shield games. That second Shield game, again, we'd gone down a certain path. You're seeking feedback. What are you doing? Go in for the post-game review. It's probably Johan Botha might have been our captain. Tim Payne was Tassie captain. And Tim, and this is a moment where we went down this path, Tim Payne just said, this would have been a great test match pitch. It was a draw. We had all draws that year except for the test match. He said this would have been a great test match pitch. And whatever you do, I reckon this is the way to go. And the pressure after that is the only time I ever felt like CA were really, I felt like they were, what are you doing? How you going? What's going on? It's the only time. Otherwise, they just tell us to do the best you can and try and replicate a test match and a Shield pitch. So there's consistency. But we got, phone calls from everyone from Buff as coach through to, the operations manager and everyone else asking what's going on. And in the end, when Buff rang, it was just like, she's hell, Buff. Big dog's ringing. I feel the pressure. What's going on? He goes, no, not asking you to. We just need to know. And he goes, the Poms are shitting themselves. Mitch Stark he's got them on the back foot. What are you thinking? And I said, I'm going to go down this path. And why? Because we're trying to get the pitch to deteriorate. And that's what we did. And he goes, it's good, mate. Even if it's a draw, we go to Perth next and we're 1-0 up. And even if it's a draw, I reckon we'll get him in Perth. And that was a test where Mitch just ran through on one of the best fast bowling spells you'd ever want to experience. He bowled Broad around his legs when Broad stopped the game because there was something on the sight screen, and I've never seen bowling like it. I just had, shivers up my spine. Go, I couldn't believe it.
When he stopped it as well, that was you got to be so careful doing that in front of an opposition crowd, because then they just kind of like saw a crack. Yeah. As in the crowd see a crack and they're just like, yeah, we're coming in.
Especially someone that can bowl 150 plus. Like, it's just, you just deal with it. And especially Broady, like, I know, ever since he got hit in the head, his batting went downhill because he was a really good batter. But, just you haven't got all the cards, mate. You just just stand up there. And
Mitch had that filthy, mo, and he just was scary. And he was on top of his game, bowling fast,
momentum,
and he was just taking wicket after wicket.
Like Clint said, I am a bit of a cricket tragic, but before
he used to play like pretty high level.
Before
I'll tell you about it.
Before Mitch was at that, he'd found that sort of second wave in his career. He couldn't buy a game at Shield level, let alone one day level. He was playing local cricket for a while, and he was off that 6-pace runner that he had for a while, and then what did he take? 38 wickets in that Ashes or something.
I know,
like
it was
that?
a lot.
It was fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
It was that like electric. Yeah.
So they left us alone. So, and I, to this day, he was the first. He was part of the cricket academy, and he actually worked on the ground stuff.
Yeah.
So my first year, Mitch was there, I reckon, and I said to him, mate, I owe you because they left us alone because
of how well he bowled.
He bowled well, and it was a flat.
As in, he out-bowled the pitch.
Yeah, the pitch was flat. It was a road, and the game, he just ripped it apart, and everyone just said yes. Yeah. Nothing's changed. This is the Adelaide Oval. Yeah, this is the Adelaide Oval pitch.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes, we couldn't get results at Shield level, and I've got Chuck Berry in my ear going, "Come on, we got to fight it.
Yeah.
Try and Chuck, let us go. Give us a break." But he was, he just had such a good year. So that was that 13. 14 was the other one where Nathan spun him to victory. Yeah. So we had a couple tests in a row that were absolute rippers on drop-ins that we were trying to go a certain way. And like I said, in 2015, we went a different way, and we had to go a different way, and we did it with the it could have been the pink ball Shield game, and we had that, and then we asked, what do you reckon if we did it? What do you reckon if we did it for a red ball? And we had WA with a red ball. Let's did it with the red ball. And there's certain moments in your time where you can remember certain conversations over your journey that actually shape the way you do things. And there was a conversation, and this guy won't ever remember it, or these guys. And it was Justin Langer and Sean Marsh coming out in the morning of day 4. Every day our job is to sweep the pitch, cut the pitch at the same height and mark the pitch. So I was marking the pitch. And they come out, and that's our time to ask for feedback. It's pretty low key. No one's around, and it was like, what do you reckon? How do you think the pitch is going? We're going down this path. And JL's comment was, mate, this is what long format cricket needs to be. Whatever you've done. And he was the first one to play on the first ever pitch Shield game on a drop-in was WA. Again, flat, terrible pitch. And he said, that was a piece of shit. But this is what, and I said, well, cut us some slack. Like, we're trying, we just were after consistent bounce.
Yeah.
And I said, he goes, mate, this is what Test match needs. So if you do this for every pitch moving forward, you're going to be in a good spot. And I didn't need to hear anything else, because this guy's not selfish. It's not about him wanting to win games. It's him wanting to have a thriving cricket, especially Test match cricket and longer format cricket. We need this. If you do this for Shield, and even his last Test match, not that we knew it was going to be his last, but he grabbed me. I was talking to Trent Copeland as a commentator about what we're doing and how we're doing it, and he grabbed me, said, you got 5 minutes and just need to have a chat. And I thought, oh, shit, I've done something. What's going on here? And he said the same on that day. So it's the last time I spoke to him as a coach, and he was like, mate, this is perfect. What you're doing, we should be able to take these types of pitches should be played around the world. It's what Test cricket needs and what we need to do. So out of that, they're the conversations that you have that reassures you. Because I'm no expert on the game of cricket. I need to listen to the experts to help me and my team do the best we can in the best interest of cricket.
That segues us into a line of questioning I want to take into you preparing pitches outside of Australia. We do need to do a draw. We do a giveaway. You don't need to do anything. We just have to do a random draw. Have you got the numbers? I've also got some questions here from people that are watching live. If you can grab me those numbers, I'll read the comment out first, and then 2 minutes we've got to do the draw. So a guy by the name of Steve Zerefos, T-Z-E-R-E-F-O-S, that's relevant because of the comment. He said, Oval number 2 is the real winner at Adelaide Oval Precinct. The 2016 upgrade was the best project I've ever worked on, and working with Damian and his team was the best part of it. Cheers, Steve. So I don't know if you remember.
Yeah.
Steve, you know who that is?
Yep. Hey, Steve.
And then Jack Chapo, who's a guy that watches the show a lot. Have you got the numbers? He said, does Lesbeth ever wander around and talk to you blokes off game days? I wonder how he fertilised and what lawn he was keen on. He probably stole fertiliser from work. You guys still catch up?
Yeah. I was with him last night.
Oh, that's pretty recent.
Drinking West Ends at a function. So yeah, we caught up for quite a few hours. He's great. Les is in a good spot.
That's good.
Yeah, Les is old school, so he used to go out with the old ammonium nitrate and have the place absolutely glowing. So, yeah, and in the old days, yeah.
You can just yell them out to me, okay? This is very, very raw. All right, 9.
8.
Oh, it's 8. This is from last week, right?
89745.
89745, yep. And then what's your name?
93666.
93666. All right, so I'm going to throw this on the screen over here.
All right.
Cool. So we'll give this away, and then I want to ask you another question. I've got a few questions here, but then we'll talk about the United States. All right, so this is to give. This is to win a Lawnhub merch pack. Which have we been giving them away? It's all been handled.
Yeah.
Cool. 91069. Sorry, there was the lack of fanfare there.
Mark.
You've got me on a low energy day today, Hough. It's quite good.
Mark, his first order from Victoria.
Mark from Victoria, congratulations. Oh yeah, I've got a soundboard. I probably should be pressing that, shouldn't I?
You got the number?
Oh my God!
Got the number?
91069.
Yeah, got it.
And yeah, so next week, of the 2,000 or 3,000 people that have bought from us in November, one of them will win a $7,500 lawnmower delivered to their door. And it'll probably be someone who doesn't care at all about lawnmowers. But
The one that won it last year.
Clint Osborne loved it.
Loved it.
It's his Facebook profile picture still. Him and his lawnmower with a big Lawnhub sticker on it. So where did we had that, didn't we? I'll bring that back over here. So what was the question? Someone, I'll get you to talk about this. So we just had a comment from Jack Chapo again. Can you please get Damian to talk about Karen Rolton and Park 25?
Yeah.
So just on Karen Rolton, when I was coming through the junior soccer stuff, that oval was a piece of crap. Like I think there was a turf club playing on it, and it was like I remember we trained there once because I think the men's were on number 1, the women's are on 2, and number 3 was Prickleville. Back when there was little prickles down there.
Yeah.
And, I don't know what was going on there, but we trained on Karen Rolton, or I don't know what it was called back then.
Railways.
But yeah, we trained on there. And I remember we were bowling on the pitch and your front foot would go down and the pitch would the turf wasn't it was horrendous. And then, but obviously that was a different oval. It was different purpose back then. But
so,
the way that it's phenomenal.
It's Saka have truly got a world-class setup.
Absolutely.
So between Adelaide Oval and our state practice and number 2 ground, and now with Karen Rolton and, really the upgrade of all 3 pitches, the outfields are pretty much the same, but there's a better irrigation system in there now. Just a
better surface.
It is world-class. So, Saka, you still look after it. I spent 14 years with Saka. From 96 to Oh, no, more than 14 years.
And that's right, because you were employed by them but worked on the same oval, right?
Yeah, so 17 years I was employed by Saka until about 2013, probably 18 years, 2014. And then Saka, when I went over to Stadium Management Authority, when Saka let go of running of Adelaide Oval, we looked after Karen Rolton, or before it was Karen Rolton, it was just Park 25, and we started looking after Railways. So Railways Oval is Karen Rolton now. Railways used to be run by Adelaide High School, and they used to get over there and roll out a pitch each week. Outfield was rough. And then Todd Heinrich, who's my assistant now, he started, we needed more shed size because we had Premier Cricket was growing and we needed space for rope, and we used their shed, and in return of using their shed, because we needed more space, we cut the outfield, and then we built the wicket area. And then over time it got better, and then it turned into the development that it is now. So we let go of that in 2014, probably mid-14, when Justin Groves went down there to look after it. So he left me as my assistant curator, went down and looked after basically all Park 25, Karen Rolton, and all of the turf clubs, so all of the turf throughout South Australia, and to the point that Trent Kelly looks after it now with his team. So yeah, it's an impressive, absolutely impressive setup. Our role down there now is to support Trent with the two drop-ins that he's got down there. So again, Trent just keeps taking it from, one level to a next level. And then the reason why he went with drop-ins, and Saka went with drop-ins, is they get a lot of footy down there with old Iggy's playing out of there, and they would get early season games. Shield now starts earlier and earlier. The women's content starts early, and games and stuff needing it early. And he was just getting to a point where he couldn't get the quality of turf up out of his block in that August-September period. So game plan was put to, and Saka board, credit to them to have the vision to do this, but they approved for two pitches to go in there. So dug it out. We worked with him to set it all up. We took two of our drop-ins down, put them in there at the start of, I reckon last year. Maybe it was the year before.
So they stay down there? As in they've got a storage, off-pitch storage?
Yeah, so he's got, in his run-ups, he's got in his cage area where his practice pitches are, in those run-ups, he's got two sand trays that sit there over the summer, so they run over them and they train. And then when cricket finishes, he pulls them out, he puts his cricket pitches in there, and he puts his two sand trays, exactly like what we do, out in the middle, and he puts them out there and away he goes. So it's world class.
Does he use the machines from Adelaide Oval, or has he got his own machines?
So he uses, we do the work for him.
You'll drive them down there.
So again, that's part of our Turf Solutions business, where we go down there with the Turf Solutions crew, swap his pitches around.
On the road?
We have to pick it up.
So it gets trucked down there.
So we designed, and we were planning to do it all on the road, shut the road down, drive a pitch from number 2 over the bridge around Highley Street.
That'd be pretty cool.
We thought it was going to be amazing,
Yeah.
and then we further investigation, and that was part of Trent's job was, mate, this is a cost to do it all. You get all the approvals, and all of a sudden it was, we couldn't. It's too heavy. We couldn't get it over the bridge.
On the bridge.
So then we've ended up having to basically put it on the back of a purpose-built truck, semi, and tow it down there, offload, and it has to get piloted down there and put in there, and it can't go over the bridge, so it chucks a right, goes down War Memorial, down Port Road, and comes up down from that side of the city and comes back in. So world class, and what they're able to do now is, doesn't matter whether it's a Shield game at Adelaide Oval or a Shield game at Karen Rolton, they know what they're getting. It's the same type of pitch, same type of preparation. So it's all about consistency for our state team, men and women, and also for the visiting teams. They know what they're getting when they come to South Australia, and we're just trying to have consistency and drive standards, which we think will just improve, the teams and the players. get us a trophy that we're after.
Talk to us about, I guess, the moment you get a phone call saying, "Hey, you seem pretty good at doing this cricket pitch prep thing. Do you want to come and do it in the United States?"
Yeah, it was.
Was that the call?
Pretty much. Yeah, it was surreal. It started with a Monday of the asthma turf conference in Adelaide. I was walking across the bridge over to the convention centre, and I actually got a phone call from a guy called Dave Agnew, who's the head curator of Major League Cricket that in America, based in Dallas. And his conversation was along the lines of, got this guy out here talking about drop-ins, you're going to get a call. They're reviewing all these sites, they're having a chat. And I said, oh yeah, Trent Kelly was over there at the time, helping Dave for the first year of Major League Cricket. And literally 2 days later, we're having a online meeting in the foyer of the convention centre, talking to a guy by the name of Adrian Griffith, worked for ICC for 11 years in the operations side of things and was now out consulting, and his first job was to get in there and sort out the America leg of the Cricket World Cup, which was in June. So, yeah, it was unbelievable. So they started there. We put a price in, said, would you be keen? Hell yeah. Yeah, do you need to check with the CEO? Nah. So we're keen because we were just about to launch Adelaide Oval Turf Solutions.
Yep.
And the reason, I'll go on that later, but Turf Solutions was built off the back of requests and to get involved and support around different parts of whether it's Adelaide or...
And these requests would have been coming under Les's leadership as well, obviously.
Oh,
like
Les
would have been getting asked to do stuff.
Les used to get it all the time,
Yeah.
and then just I guess just
not professionalize it, but formalize it.
Yeah, so just in in your role as head curator, you just get requests, and I went over to Pakistan probably in 2022-ish, something like that, and that was off the back of them reaching out to Cricket Australia around drop-ins and around soil types, and then you give them some information, and then conversations happen, and next minute you're asked to go over there. So there's things like that you get asked to be involved in, and we're pretty fortunate to be able to travel, and our CEO and our management have always been supportive of us getting out there and developing, personally as well.
It's still work though, right? Like,
yeah, it's work. Yeah,
100%. It's work that you're enjoying.
Yeah, and you get to travel to Pakistan is like a pretty.
I remember you telling
experience.
me about it, saying that you made a phone call to someone who happened to be over there at the time, another South Australian, just around your security concerns, and he's like, "Nah, you're all good." Like,
yeah, it's Tatey, Sean Tatey.
Yeah, just go where you're meant to go.
Yeah, so I'd spoken to the security guy from Cricket Australia, and who had, because the Aussies had just played over there or were about to play over there
for the first time in 20 years or something. Was it 23 years?
Yeah, so I'd spoken to them. They'd done a lot of research, and our CEO at the time, Andrew Daniels, was really a bit nervy. We'll give you some personal development. Just does it have to be Pakistan?
You're like, nah, Vegas.
Yeah. So in the end, I just had this real itch I wanted to scratch, and I wanted to go, and I wanted to experience it, and because I knew that it would never happen again. So it happened, and then it was a phone call, a message to Tatey, and then a phone call because he's a local boy up home as well. So. And he said, mate, get on the next plane. They're so passionate, and they're so caring, and they love the game. So, I loved it. 2 weeks, full on, but it was good. But that's where it comes from. So Turf Solutions was starting to we were in the finishing touches of about to launch, and this come up, so it made sense. So that's where it started. We got in there. We didn't, not so much tendered, but we put some prices together on what it would cost. We were building our own trays because of the Karen Rolton project. We'd put 5 years, we'd been working with drop-ins for 10 to 12 years. Strathare do an amazing tray. They really do. It's a really good tray. But we had some philosophies that we'd sort of thought about over that time, and we, like I said at the start, everybody was copying everyone else because that's just what we knew. And we just wanted to try a couple different things that we thought were potentially going to take it to the next step and help us to make pitches that would deteriorate that the old square used to, that we couldn't do. And we got some thoughts and philosophies that we wanted to trial out. So we've done that with the ones, not the ones at Karen Rolton, because he took 2 of ours. It was really hard not to give him our worst 2 pitches off the block. And
I can imagine it's like, no, they're the good ones.
yeah.
And then you and Todd are just like,
Well, it was Todd that wanted to
Give him the shit ones.
give him the shit ones. So we didn't. We gave him a couple that we
to
were
be fair,
happy
Todd's
with.
not here to defend himself.
No, I know, that's why I did it. But we got him in there and we gave him 2, and we've built 2 that we've, of the newer ones, and we've just put some steps in place.
Well, if you're good enough, you go build 2 more pitches, they're going to be, you know what I mean? Like, give them some good ones because you can make more good ones, right?
So we're doing that, and then we've ended up building 6 for America, and got the green light really, really late. So the biggest challenge was 5 months. We probably got it 7.5 months out from the tournament. We got the green light just really the Friday before the October long weekend. And then we had to fast track the fabrication. A tray would take, if all ready to go, about a week per tray, and we had to get 6 built in about 2.5 weeks. So a lot of hours. And our engineering company that we use, Turn A, did an amazing job. Got them in a shipping container, took them over there, and then flew over in start of December last year and put the soil in, bolted them together, put the soil in. And then while we were over there, 4 more arrived that they made in America, because they decided in that time they needed more for the training venue. So 34,000 seat pop-up stadium out of nowhere
that's right.
In Eisenhower Park, Nassau County on Long Island, that come up out of the ground, just built out a scaffold, marquees, an oval built. And these pitches were built down in Boynton Beach in Florida. Why? Because it was the warmest part in America at that time of year. So last bit of turf went on straight after New Year's. I flew back on about the 4th or 5th of January. By the time I got back, we lose a couple of days. So, and we really went straight into the test pitch preparation. So, and then we work with a company called Landtech, world-renowned, high-level American, huge company, and they grew them in for us. One guy in particular, Spud Williams, is a ripping guy, a POM, so he knew cricket.
Spud's such a universal nickname.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to be American.
Nah.
He could have been Australian.
Yeah.
And he's English.
Yeah, he's an Englishman with a really strong American accent. So
okay.
He'd been there for 30 years, but knew cricket, understood the game, whereas every other American, every other employee of Landtech had no idea about the game. So Spud he knew how to grow grass. He'd worked on 8 Super Bowls, and those that know Super Bowl, they basically hire a venue out wherever that is. Yep. It's like coming to Adelaide Oval, and they bring in their crack team that come in and take over, and the ground staff get moved out, and these guys come in. So he was one of them for 8 years. Knows his stuff, legend of a guy, and we just kept in touch weekly about the growing. And again, you're just measuring root growth. What are we trying to do? Drive root growth, get it to be as mature as we can in 5 months. And we would never build a pitch in 5 months. If it was Adelaide Oval, we would never play on one inside 12 months. We would play a low-level game, a shield game, maybe 18 months. An international game would be 2 years. We would want to put it through its paces. But, we had to turf down in start of January, and they were played on at the start of June.
How'd they play? I have vague memories, but...
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Nah, average.
It was bad. It was just too early.
Yeah, it was. There's an article that's just come out in the Asthma magazine, and I can honestly say it was the toughest period that I've ever experienced in my whole working career.
Well, it doesn't sound like if it was described as a failure, and I'm not saying it was, there's not necessarily anyone that could have done this as a success with the time.
Yeah, I don't know. Like from my side, I don't think it was a failure. It was challenging. When we left, the feedback from the ICC, and people will go, "Oh, yeah, the ICC are going to always say that," but you know they were really appreciative and said, "Well done, we've pulled this off.
We got it together.
We got games together. It wasn't dangerous. The first 2 games there was a few balls reared up off a length, and it just wasn't pleasant. So it was very stressful. We'd work through the way we would always do a pitch. We were really comfortable right up until the last week, and then the last week we were like, "Ooh, what's going on here?" Just these really fine hairline cracks all started to appear. And a pitch is allowed to crack. So as a pitch dries out, naturally it starts to crack. So that's okay for the pitch, but there were these little grassy veins going down it, and the roller we were using, we had a big, like 4-ton sit-on roller, road roller, and we were able to get hold of 2 Momaster cricket pitch walk-behind pedestrian rollers. And I spent a lot of time working the pedestrian roller, cross-rolling, angle rolling, and I could walk behind it and get down, you know, almost lie on the ground and check every square inch of the pitch out. And it just didn't feel right towards right near the tournament stage. So the first 2, the warm-up game was pretty good, India and Bangladesh. Bangladesh were never, you know, they're not a strong team compared to India. India made 180, and we went, a little bit of inconsistency, and we were fine with that because we went, they're only 5 months old. They're going to be a little bit too paced, especially the way they play. And it wasn't too bad. And then the first couple games, they were very too paced and they were jagging around a little bit too much. And the second game, there's a few that sort of popped and come up, and that was a time where you just felt sick in the guts.
Because that you could hurt someone or damage with that specific game because of the surface.
Yeah, so Ireland, I can't remember his name, but one of the better batters in Ireland copped a few on the fingers, and you just went, it's not sitting right. India made the runs in like 12 or 13 overs, so they did it comfortably, but
they're used to that kind of pitch, aren't they?
Rowett got hit a few times. He went off. I think he ended up sort of retiring and
because the game
hurt, and he sort of went, no, caught one in the shoulder. Yeah. But it was just the body language afterwards, and you just went, it didn't feel right. And then we just had to, during that game, go, okay, well, every game we'd done, we'd tweak something. We were always measuring. We do a lot of analysing, a lot of testing, a lot of measuring. So we tested the moisture, the bulk density, so the hardness of the pitch.
As in with a cleg, or you're actually physically taking stuff out?
We were using, no, we didn't have a cleg, so we were taking cores, measuring them with cores, chopping them up, measuring them, weighing them, drying them. So there's a technique that we use. And then after the second game, we were able to get hold of a, we call it it's a radiation gauge. So we can actually measure down the pitch, and we use it at Adelaide Oval all the time, probably for 12 years we've been using it, and we're able to test where the ball bounces and test the bulk density and the moisture, and just to see how it was. So we were able to measure all of that and work it all out, and the height of cut would always change, take a little bit more grass off. And in the end, we decided we would just literally, to fix it, and these grassy veins, we would dilute the grassy veins by top dressing, and that's what we did. Fine soil, screeded it. We took a survey of the pitch, almost like a scan of the pitch, to understand the highs and lows and the levels of the pitch, and we noticed that the pitch was still working its consolidation out, even though we'd worked it so hard. And we worked it, we put in a huge day on that Wednesday. There was rain Thursday, and then we had Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday straight of games every day, and then we flew out Wednesday night. So we put in a fair effort that day, And we ended up going, yes, we're as good. Like, they were a piece of shit. Like, they were from what we were used of.
Tell us what you
And
really think.
No, but I shouldn't have said that. But from,
It's all right. It's
but
live.
from what we were used of and the way we want to produce a pitch with a fine amount of grass pushed into the surface, the ball's going to come on and it's going to be consistent and the players can play their shots and it's high scoring, their sixes and fours. In the end, it was by doing that, they turn into low, slow stinkers, but they're consistent or more consistent. Instead of being here and here, they're more like there and there. And then you, and they're just a little bit more consistent and the players have a little bit more faith to play their shots. So they were still low scoring, 110, 120s. Were probably the scores. Roll Drava come out on the last day. Like, we had them 3 games plus a warm up, so 4 times. And his feedback was, "Hey, well done. Like, you guys have, we know it's been hard, but you've worked through it and appreciate everything you've done. We know it's been stressful, but thank you." He'd seen the improvement there. Pakistan, India, you can't get any bigger. Feedback from both captains when they got interviewed was positive. But again, his view was, he said, "Houghy, there's 40 runs left in the outfield," because the outfield was very slow. It was Kentucky bluegrass. Even though we had it down at 12 mil, it was a real thatchy 12 mil. So,
But it was a consistent 12 mil, right? Like, everyone was playing
consistent, yeah. And what we had out the back for that World Cup, they all come off the IPL, where 250, 280 was chaseable. So they come with I suppose, with a completely different type of pitch and outfield than what they were used to. So in the end, where we were disappointed along the journey, we got to see some unbelievable games of cricket that were like 120, chasing them down, some like real good cricket.
and grunty cricket.
Yeah, and the players, the batters had to think their way through it too. So, but it was, I suppose, by the time we got home, flew home, we were pretty cooked. I won't lie, but we were really proud of the effort that the team had put in and the work that had been done over that period. And 5 months, I think we summed it up by saying, you self-analyse along the way, you review everything. There were times there where we said, "I don't know what else to do. I'm stuck. I feel like I don't know. I've lost my ability to prepare a pitch because I'm stumped here." In the end, when you review things and you always, did I get this right? Would I do anything different? There is not one thing that we would have done differently in that period, from getting the green light to build them to getting on the plane home. There's not one thing we would have done differently.
More time would have been.
And the only thing that we could have done differently was ask for more time. So
Doesn't work, though.
No. So when you look at it like that, we go, well, okay, we control the controllables. We did everything we possibly could. They were solid. They and they got a tournament away, and it'll drive cricket in America for
But that was the goal,
years to come. Yeah.
Like, emerging market.
Yeah. So be proud of that and move on and go for it. So yeah, that's sort of where it's at. And we've continued conversations over there with Major League Cricket and the ICC. You've got the LA Olympics coming up. So there's been some conversations around, they come out on one of the nights, their whole organising committee sort of come out, operational side, and said, "What are your learnings?" And it was, give yourself more than 5 months, give yourself 18 months to 2 years, get the pictures, build them, find the location, because 5 months just isn't enough time to get it right.
It's not concrete.
No.
It's a living surface. You got questions? I've got a few here, but
I mean,
I'm assuming you've got 100 questions.
That was very interesting. Yeah, because obviously I think last time you spoke about it was the Gather Round conference for that Australian or the South Australian, at that one. And there was,
TMSA?
there's stuff that you weren't able to talk about just yet. So that was quite nice just to sit back and listen to that.
As in, at the time, it was still too fresh, or
I think because someone did ask you and you said, "Oh, you just have to wait." yeah, you just have to wait. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it was, again, you can't predict what's going on. You know, in the whole process, we built the trays, and you have these checkpoints along the way, and you got to go, okay, well, this will be a stop point. We check if you have your ideal scenario of what you want it to be like. And every time we hit that point, and it could be I'm going over there for a 2-week period, and when I get back, I want it to look like this. Every time I got home and had my meetings with my CEO, it would be, how's it better than what we could have imagined?
Yep.
Every single time.
Yep.
Consolidation process went really well. The turf side of things went really well. We got all that sorted. The grow in, unbelievable. The root structure, you know, when we picked the trays up, or even during, after 10 days was, you know, like 2 inches deep. And then it kept the root structure because with a good root structure, you know, you can build quite a resilient, healthy pitch. And if you got deep root structure, you can, you know, get pace out of your pitch, and it's starting to dry from deep down and drag that moisture up. So it was all a plan to drive root structure, root growth, that network of mass of roots underneath, so we can be quite aggressive with the consolidation on the top, manage it, work with Spud and the team down in Florida, and then pick the pitches up, go back over there, pick them up. There's roots on the bottom where they're anchoring into the sub base.
Yeah, wow, that's crazy.
And it was like, as it was frustrating because we had to then clean it all off. But you were like, how good's this?
Yeah.
In 4 months, we got roots poking in the bottom, binding into the road base underneath, cleaning them off, driving them anywhere between 2 days and 4 days from Florida up to New York.
Yeah.
Some truck drivers going rogue and disappearing and then rocking up 2 days later than what they should have, wrapping them and not knowing how they're going to do the travel because we've never done that.
Yeah, that's right.
And pulling them off, cutting them open, pulling them off and seeing this lush green, everything that we hoped was as good, if not better than what we could have imagined. So the whole process, you know, joining, because they're in halves, joining the pitches together and them seamlessly going together, everything was just great. And we couldn't ask for anything better, to the point that we ended up really happy where we were at with it all. And then, it was an unbelievable process for us but some unbelievable learnings at the same time.
Sorry, we've got operational questions coming through while he's actually in the podcast. There's a few questions here from the people that are watching live, so I'm going to move through them. Some of them are complimentary. His work on the Oval gets me all hot. That's from Dean.
Good on you, Dean.
Steve had a follow-up comment that he said the second best part of the project was watching the dynamic between you and Les. So obviously you guys have got a great relationship, and if you're still catching up for beers.
Yeah, well, Les is, I mean, what you see with Les is just is genuine. So he's just a humble person. Didn't matter whether you were the apprentice or probably the Prime Minister. He just treated everyone the same. So he always has, always will, and he's just caring. So you worked hard, and you played. He played. He still plays hard. So and that's the way it is. And you get around each other. He's passionate for turf. He loves Adelaide Oval, and yeah, to this day,
Can he kind of just walk in there and access all areas? Has he kind of still got that kind of like I guess new security guards might not know who he is, but like on a normal work day, not a game day, but like
he probably could.
Yeah,
he'd get lost though. Like it's a bit different, different to the old days. But yeah, he's just still such a high profile.
What sort of lawn care happens in between the seasons, between footy and cricket? Do you do scarifying and coring? Yeah,
a lot of coring, scarifying. Yeah, not lightly scarifying. It wouldn't be aggressive. We don't
tickle, as they would say.
Yeah, light tickle. Yeah. But yeah, the coring is really important for us to be able to punch a core out and harvest. Is
As in not a solid tine, you're taking a
Hollow.
core and taking it.
Yeah, hollow
Yep.
tine. 9 times out of 10 we'll harvest. Every now and then we might, if we are short of time, we might go out with the 1298, which is a bigger aerator, normally a 12 mil hollow. We might go out, rub it in. So after the test, that's what we'll do, and then we'll lightly tickle and vacuum up the rest, give it a water, and then give it a light tickle and clean it up, get some seed out there, and away we go. So, I mean, we'd love to do it. I'd love to do it every 8 weeks, but it's subject to the season.
The oval's pretty high use as well, right? So
we were able to do it. We were able to do it last year. Normally we do it in our bye week. We didn't have a bye round this year, but we had our bye was the round 24. So we're able to do it then, leading into the SANFL and Port finals, because anything that we get a 2 week window will do.
Yep.
Get straight in and do it. Straight after the AFL, before Socceroos, we did it again. And then as soon as we got the pitches in, we did it again. So we did it about 3 times in around about 12 weeks, 10 weeks, and it loved it. So if we can do it every 2 months in the cricket season, we will. But again, it's subject to the weather. If it's really hot, we won't put the rye under that stress. So we're stressing it out enough. That abrasiveness on the leaf can cause, and that just the sand and the abrasiveness can give us some disease pressures. So we've just got to be careful when we do it.
Makes
but
sense.
we try to do it as often as we possibly can.
Do you have any special applications during high impact periods like tests and gather round? I'm guessing chemical or wetting agent or
Yeah, we've got a 12-month program. So
just run that.
yes, we tweak it strategically, but our program would consist of our aeration practices, fungicide, disease pressures, and a program for that. Our oversowing with ryegrass, and our nutritional program would be either a soil conditioning root sort of program or a on top leaf sort of program where we're trying to, for us in the last 4 years, a lot of it's been around microbes and what are we doing in the soil, how are we conditioning that, if we can get our soil as healthy as we possibly can and thriving and our root structure really healthy and thriving, the top tends to take care of itself. It becomes a lot more resilient. So our focus around that, I'd be lying if I said that cosmetics didn't play a part. You know, that's part of your brand and reputation, and you want people to turn on the test match or walk into the stadium and go, wow, or for an AFL game. So your cutting patterns and I suppose the colour of the outfield, the old saying, green is good and brown is bad, it's pretty true. So if it looks green and is healthy and it's got that shine to it, normally it's in pretty good nick.
Positive feedback. There was a question further back. It was actually Matt was saying, do you use biostimulants like roots and shoots? And what's your view on this as well as wetting agents?
Yeah, so we've got our microbes and
Yep. Is that
organic.
granular or you get a liquid that's got microbes in it?
Yeah, liquids.
Yep.
So we use a range of liquids and wetting agents. Yeah, we go out probably every 2 weeks.
Wetting agents?
Yeah.
Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of the turf professionals we talk to, the qualified ones like you, say wetting agents are their secret weapon, and if they could only use one thing, a wetting agent would be.
Yeah, so we would go out probably half rates every second week rather than a full rate every month, just to keep it trickling through. And what you got to remember at Adelaide Oval is we've got 4 or 5 different ages of profile. So every time we have a concert, there's turf replacement every time, and that all of a sudden creates some inconsistencies out there. And our job is to create a consistent surface within consistent years of growth. So we know that certain areas has a higher organic matter and percentage. We know that turf is going to hold more moisture. We know we need to punch more holes in there. We know potentially Ed Sheeran turf has 10,000 square metres replaced 2 years ago will be droughtier and will be generally drier. So
because of the root depth?
Because of the just the lack of organic, probably a little bit around roots. But so we know that if we have a hot spell, we mightn't have to water the outer as much as the inner sort of soccer field area, 10,000 square metres. So we might have to up the run time on the sprinklers in that area just to try and balance out the moisture content.
They're not individually controllable, those sprinklers, are they?
Yeah,
they are.
Yeah,
Okay,
all valve underhead.
Yep.
So yeah, they're good.
It's funny that it feels like a new irrigation system, but it's not, is it? Like it's got some years on it.
12 years.
Which is not end of life, but 12
No.
years is still 12 years.
Yeah.
I remember being there when it was going in. It feels like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm sure you feel like that about everything there. This is a bit of a pointed question, and you don't have to answer it if you want to avoid it. But any idea why the MCG turf is lackluster from the last season or so? A few patches were really light green and looked horrible. Is that Power?
Power. Yeah. So they've had. You would have noticed this year they after
GF.
Taylor Swift, they replaced that fair chunk. So their power was really, I'm going to say, left of screen.
I was there at the GF and it was like 2 different ovals.
Yeah, so left of screen in the flanks mainly. And pockets. Their power's pretty thick, but again, it's just that piece around having the time to get out there and manage the power, or when you're on TV all the time. We've got our own challenges out there with power, and we've got our plans, and you're all working with budgets, so it's not like you can go out there with.
You can't use pre-emergence.
Can't use
because you're seeding all the time, aren't you?
You can, but again, pre-emergence. When are you going to spray them?
Yeah.
February, March period. What do we have in February, March? Normally a rock concert. So you're not going to put a pre-emergent down, because even though you're replacing certain amount, there's a lot of turf, could be 15,000 square metres of turf undercover that's stressing out, that's not going to get replaced. So you can't put a pre-emergent out because you're about to put seed out, or you have put seed out that you're hoping is going to germinate underneath the protection. So it becomes a vicious cycle. We lost it probably in 2016, somewhere around there, when we had Adele. I think we had Guns N' Roses into a T20 international, into a Shield game, into Adele, into another Shield game, into boxing with Mundine and Green. And by the time we got through that, we would take anything that was green. And if Power was coming up, we were like and Dave Egan was my turf manager at the time. We can remember having a conversation with Dave saying, well, green is good. So what do we do? And we would measure our percentage, and we were probably sitting under 3% at the time. And I reckon within 6 months we were 7 or 8%. We estimated we were at. And then all of a sudden you're chasing yourself again. And what do? Because you're always on TV. So, and you want to be presenting it up. So sometimes you just got to maybe go backwards a little bit to push forward. So, and we're having those same conversations now, not so much in the new turf, but in a lot of the older, heavier turf, there's a little bit of power coming up. And we manage it with Packlow, to be honest, where we just try to shrink it down and camouflage it and mask it and try and keep the percentages on at our favour, and maybe try and stop seed head suppression and things like that, so we're not increasing the percentages and we're keeping it at bay. And then if we do get a window to strategically go out there and nuke it, we'll get out there when we can.
Hand removal's not an option.
It is in little windows, so we do hand removal on cricket pitches and things like that when it's at that small stage, because we can't put pre-emergent on cricket pitches either. But, I mean, the use of top makers and things on cricket pitches these days has helped with power, because we can really just shave that seed bank out and look after it that way.
What's your lawn type at home? Do you have a lawn or do you prefer concrete?
I got the old Adelaide Oval deep pockets, western side pockets.
Yep.
So Santa Ana, we redid the oval in 2007, put irrigation in and some drainage. And when we redid the oval, the western stands, and they reshaped the oval and lost those deep pockets, Les let me take the cooch home. So we sod cut it out, took it home, had a house that I'd built up in the hills, and I put it in my front lawn. So I'm slowly transforming probably a hectare and a half into Santa Ana fairways.
Looks good.
We're getting there.
Yep.
Yeah. So
with a deck mower?
so I've got a little bit of both.
Yep.
So I've got the old John Deere sit-on mower, and I've got hold of a pedestrian walk behind cylinder mower. So
for a hectare?
Takes a few out. Well, I'm probably 2/3 of the way there.
Yeah.
And I just get out there.
So you're just letting it grow out? Or you're just coring it? And
I'm coring it, moving it, or if we core number 2 ground and we're not rubbing it in, I'll do the trip with the cores, and I'll take the cores home and spread them out, keep them wet.
Charge the oval dumping and everyone's happy.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit before about the new business. So you're, I guess, a gun for hire now, or your guns are for hire, as in your team?
Yeah, it was part of our strategic review, I suppose, part of the leadership group at work, or the senior management group, I suppose, and we were going through the strategies and our strategic plans for the next 3 or 4 years. And it was really around growth for the business. Where do we see growth? Like we're a business that I suppose has relied on sporting events to bring the income in, and our Adelaide Oval's role is to really provide Sacca and Samford with the finances to go back into footy and cricket and grassroots and develop the game. So we're a non-for-profit and we don't have any money. It's everything that gets made at Adelaide Oval goes back to Sacca and Samford. So it was really diversifying the business. And over the years, they've diversified the business. They've built a hotel. They've got mulch shovel tap house. They've got a roof climb. They've got a tours. They look after Monado, the cafe and the hospitality side up there. And it was, I suppose, seeing that how do we, as a business, tap into the wealth of knowledge and experience that we've got. And that was an area that they felt was underutilised, I suppose, and not just in the turf side. It could be, we got world-class function business that is doing amazing things, and can we get out there and support, I suppose, the function side of the industry? We've got an operational team that is does amazing jobs. We've got a security team. We've got the ground staff as well. So in the end, it was a bit of a no-brainer. My old boss, Darren Chandler, probably mentioned it to me. So he's now the CEO of the SANFL, but he probably mentioned it to me 5 or 6 years ago that we should be out there doing it. We've got machines that sit there and don't get used a lot unless there's renovations and stuff going on. You've got experience in there. And my initial response was pretty negative.
We've got enough shit to do. Leave me alone.
Yeah, it was. It was, fuck off. Like, seriously, you're never home, mate. So it was along the lines of, nah, boss, come on. We're not home. And it's pretty full on. And there's a fair bit of pressure just at Adelaide Oval. So it ended up being, just too much going on. We don't need this in my life right now. But again, the kids get older. My wife doesn't want me home. So you go.
I'm sure that's not true.
No, but you just come in and you go, well, there. And you put more time, your staff are developing, and it just made sense. So we just decided that we'd give it a go. And as a business and the managers sort of felt that this was an area that we could look at. And we were getting asked, like Pakistan, we'd been asked to help Baz out at Norwood and support him with gather round. We'd been asked to assist in the World Cup, and we were sort of having those conversations. So we started this business called Adelaide Oval
Formalising it.
Turf Solutions.
Yep.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And so you're going out and chasing new work as well?
Yeah,
As in
so
tendering for things?
Yeah, so we'll, again, my why, or the why for me, is to go out and support the industry wherever we can. So we'll focus on renovations and maintenance as our key diet, our staple diet. We think that we've got machinery and the experience there. We've restructured, I suppose, and moved some staff from Adelaide Oval to focus on this. We're able to bring some more staff back into Adelaide Oval, and we're just trying to grow the business and see where it'll go. So, yeah, we've got some maintenance contracts that we've been fortunate enough to have won, do the athletic stadium, women's playing fields through Sport and Rec. We look after, and that's led to more work down there with their high performance centres and things like that. We look after Prospect Oval, do the pitches down there for them, so we won that contract. Cut Broadview and Cane Reserve. We support Simon Chesney, with Labor down at Cooper Stadium when he needs it. So one of the guys goes down there and gives him a hand to support him down there, and renovations wherever we can, like could be Burnside Council around, Prospect as we do, or going out, as far as, where have we gone? Probably, some consulting work as far as Darwin, drop-in pitches at KRO. North Sydney, we do their drop-ins, take the machine over there. And then...
As in, you'd take the machine to Sydney,
Yep.
move the pitches at the start of their season and then bring the machine back and then move them again at the end of the season.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
I didn't know that because obviously SCG still holds their pitch, so they don't have the machinery there.
Yeah.
So someone's got to drive it, I suppose, if they want to move pitches.
So it's, North Sydney Oval probably 6 years ago put drop-ins in.
Just didn't buy a machine.
And
Don't
they
need
would,
to.
well, no, they were using somebody else and they were doing it, and they just said one day, could you price it up? There's talk of it's getting too expensive, and they're talk we mightn't move the pitches anymore. We might just leave them there, and it'd be a shame. So we just priced it up, and they come back to us and said, yeah, we'd like to do it. So JT, like John Trenorden, is my operations manager in that space. He was my assistant curator, probably still is one of my assistant curators. So I've got Todd Heinrich, who helps me now. JT used to help me, so the two of them used to help me. One at the first half of the summer and the other one at the second half. And JT's gone over to be the operations manager and is just killing it. So he's doing such a good job.
I was going to say, one thing that you probably danced next to but didn't completely say is the opportunities that it's probably giving your team that may have been pigeonholed as an Oval staff member. They can now start branching out into a quite diverse.
Yeah.
And I know that's unfair because you do more than just look after an Oval.
No, but you've got to provide staff opportunity, and you've got to make it, we're putting a lot of time as a business into our people and our staff. So we want to be an employee of choice. So we want our team to come in and want to work at Adelaide Oval and want to stay there. So for us, we know that working at a stadium is a lot of weekend work and a lot of hours. So we can't get away from that. We can't match a council, can't match it with a council sort of wage.
Even private enterprise.
And a 9-day fortnight.
Yeah.
So for us, it's all of a sudden, what can we do to show our staff that they mean the most to us? And then it's, again, it's difficult in this day and age, and since COVID, the shiny light of Adelaide Oval and commit everything to it after you've gone through COVID. It's becoming more of a, I think, expected everywhere globally, is that, you're there to do your work, but there's more to life than work. So we're trying to give opportunity overseas. We're able to get 3 or 4 of the staff to come over to America. So there was a New York venture that we did, but we were also asked to help out down in Florida at Fort Lauderdale and go down there and help Milton Taylor, his name is, a West Indian curator that is down there to help him build his pitches, centre wicket, and also construct a brand new set of practice facilities. So I was able to send Ryan down there. He's now Trent Kelly's second in charge. So Shimmer went down there. Sam Worley, my third year apprentice, went there for 3 weeks. Marcus Kitely, the guy that looks after my practice pitches, went there for 5 weeks. And then when he come home, Sam went back there for another 2 or 3 weeks. And then I was able to bring Todd Heinrich over to help me with the World Cup pitches in New York. So to be able to give staff an opportunity to grow and develop and just experience something outside of Adelaide Oval is really cool and really special. But when you do that, you put pressure back onto your team who are, it's not like they're not doing anything. They're getting 40,000 people every week, AFL going global, national every week. And Pete Foreman, the turf manager, basically ran the Oval because I wasn't there for 15 weeks last year because I was in America, and he's just done an amazing job. So the development in Pete, development in all of us, we've all had to step outside of our comfort zone. But when you get out of there, then all of a sudden, the first year apprentices that would normally take a couple of years before they'd even get the chance to cut the Oval are getting chucked out there to cut the Oval. So everybody just grows and develops, and you get to chuck them in the deep end a little bit, and it's almost like sink or swim. And they find their level pretty quickly. And yeah, it's been good. We're able to send a couple staff over to London. One went to Lords, and we got contact from the grounds manager there, Cole McDermott. He had someone pull out, and I met Cole in 2019, and he said, "Do you have anyone?" So I put it out to the team, and Caleb went there, and Caleb's one of the staff on the Turf Solutions team, been with us for probably 5 years, and is a key member of the Turf Solutions team now and killing it. So he was able to go and experience Lords for 6 months. And Brooke Francis, again, she went over, and it was all her doing, and we just supported her. She reached out and got over to Wimbledon for 6 months. So the development and it's important to me to show that faith in them and give them the opportunity to go and travel. Where the easy option is to stay here because we're busy all the time and I don't want you going anywhere and I need you here. But I think long term it's better for them and it's better for us if we're able to get them to have a look at what's going on in the world.
I think that works. I agree massively. We have 3 minutes left before 4 o'clock, which is when we finish, and I'm sure you probably want to start your weekend. Have you actually got a weekend this weekend?
No. I do. It's at Adelaide Oval.
It's at Adelaide Oval. That's
and
right.
I love that. So
I'm sure
fine.
some people would happily trade places with you. Do you have any other thing you want to add? You got questions?
It's all just, I'm just listening. I'm genuinely enjoying myself. Yeah.
It's flowing by.
It has, and that's always the trouble. We've had a couple guests on before, and it feels like we keep talking till bloody 6, 7 o'clock.
We put a poll out to see whether or not the audience wanted me to be involved in the podcast, because sometimes it can go a little bit crazy if I'm involved.
Really?
And the votes, I'm assuming the votes said yes.
Yeah, votes were strongly in your favour, 60-odd%. So
yeah. That's still 40% of people just going no. So, but hey, elections get 151-49. So, well, thank you so much for coming in to do this. I know you have a busy schedule, and I don't know how much you get to do this, but I think it's good to be able to highlight to the community what you're doing, and if it shines some light on what you're doing with Turf Solutions, and that's cool. But also just for the guys that might be at home being critical of a lime green patch of turf, they can better understand why, and the challenges of having a pitch that behaves a certain way and how that can impact people's lives. So
yeah, no, you guys are doing a great job. So I don't do it very much, I must admit. Probably 50% of my podcasts have been with you. So,
so that's a total of 4.
Yeah, it might be more than 50. But yeah, I don't do it a lot. But look, I'm passionate about the industry and the turf industry. So And if I can get out there and someone finds it interesting or explain what we're doing with turf solutions, I'm happy to do that.
We're the same, and we talk about it a lot. We probably, Nathan Bennett was here a couple of weeks ago, and I've been harassing Rowan to do another podcast. He keeps saying no for some reason.
Come on, Rowie.
I think it could be just because he hates me now, but I think if we can, there was a period of, I guess, chefing becoming a thing, right? Chefs used to be treated like shit. And then all of a sudden and then builders, right? So you've got these building TV shows, you've got these chefing TV shows. I just feel like there's this moment that will come for turf professionals where, who knows, there could be a TV show or whatever it is. And if we can be the start of shining a light on a trade that's probably underpaid and under-respected in my mind, and the landscape industry's, I guess walking alongside being that I'm advocating for as well. But if we can advocate a little bit for the turf industry or the lawn industry in our world, then it repays the benefits that we have, here. But it also, I guess, can lift everyone up. So yeah, thank you very much for coming in.
Anytime.
And I'll play us out with my usual music. Thank you, guys.
They saying I drove a getaway.
Don't say anything rude yet. We probably might still be live.
See, I'm legally blind. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. I'm in it.
Come on, what's that?
So are you from Houston?
Man, I'm from Florida.
My boys play baseball.